Tilt.
Oh my
Tilt.
God. Why
Tilted.
is it so much fun?
Tilted boobs. Tina.
You guys.
Me. Hey,
No.
guys.
Did you say traveling with the pussies?
In the text.
Is that your stomach? Oh, dear.
I just had some fermented sauerkraut. Or
Hey,
what was
Dana.
it? Fermented
Kimchi.
I just had some
spicy
fermented
kimchi.
spicy kimchi.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure that was a good decision.
My stomach's a little loud.
Hey, Robin.
It's all right though.
Hey, Linda.
Guys. Robin, we have
Dana,
to talk to you. We
love
have to
you.
talk to you. We have to talk to
We
you.
gotta talk. We gotta talk.
We gotta know. We gotta know what's going on.
Denise. I love it. I love it. Once again, we meet.
Yes.
Indeed.
Kimchi. Yeah. It's actually really good. Our friend Lubo made it. He's like so into fermented foods right now. And he's like fermenting everything. So
Trish, hello. Trish, you missed the big boob conversation earlier. I don't know where it came from, really. We blame Samantha for it because I think she brought up bras.
She said she hasn't put on a bra.
And then that just escalated from there.
Because she has the day off.
And
then it turned into a boob conversation. I mean, it's what happens.
Eating 101.
It's what happens. Oh well, and now we have the sexy Scott in the house, so we'll stop talking about.
We're gonna try to behave and stop talking about boobs.
But welcome everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining our podcast.
Happy Sunday.
Once again on a Sunday, we have a fun and inspired
topic
to talk about today.
It was epic, yeah, Lois. Oh wow. It was. I think we all learned a lot.
Yeah. So for those of you guys that aren't part of our VIP, for those of you guys that aren't part of our VIP group, we have a private VIP membership group. And every Sunday before we do this, our podcast, we go live or do a Zoom with our team. And sometimes it just kind of goes off the rails. It's more.
Today was one of those days. Yeah. But let's be honest. I mean, it's been a little loopy for the past. Let's be honest about it. It's been a little loopy for the past. I don't know. We're going on 24 hours of really being in a good mood, which I don't know.
That's true.
Maybe we should all just take a deep breath and get back to reality or something.
Yeah,
but I love it.
Be negative again.
I love it.
Wouldn't that be great?
It's not negative. It's just more tempered. It's more demure. You know, it's a little more.
Not fun.
It's not fun. It's not as fun. No.
So anyway, yeah, Dana said it did not go off the rails. We have seen much worse. That is true. It's just been a while. So I mean, maybe we're just headed back off the rails, like the series.
A little bit. Oh my God, it's such a fun day though.
Yeah.
And it's been super productive. It's not like we
haven't stopped since we woke up.
No.
Or got up. When I woke up, I was watching
Boobalicious.
What?
Boobalicious?
Boobalicious. Boobalicious. Boobilious.
Boobilious?
That's
what's Boobilious?
Boobilious.
Hey, Erica.
Anyway, guys. So let's just do a podcast.
So I get called Sexy Scott and hear about the boob conversations. What a great day.
Happy Sunday, Scott. Happy Sunday.
Hey, Alyssa.
Awesome. Hey, Alyssa. Hey, everyone. Thank you guys for joining us. We're just going to go ahead and jump into the podcast.
We're going to jump right in.
I have to
dive right in. We're going to get this thing rolling. We're going to get our little panties in a wad. We're going to do a little
now we're going into panty talk. We're going to get our panties in a wad. Is that what you just said?
Wait. Trisha said, yeah, we got a bit closer to answering my first question ever.
Yeah.
Which now, more than ever,
needs to be answered. Yeah. Anyway, so we're going to jump into a podcast. And we're going to do a podcast about traveling with your pussies. And
Kelly.
Yeah, that's it. Here
right.
we go.
Focus. You focus.
You focus.
Please. I'm not having a problem today. You're having a problem today. You are. It's not my problem.
Welcome to episode number 0064 of Back in the Closet with the Two Crazy Cat Ladies. We are
having a great day.
We are having a great day. It's a little crazy. I mean, but it's a good crazy. We haven't had
fun crazy.
We haven't been. I mean, I feel like we've progressively gotten in better moods over the past week or two.
I think so. Yeah. It's been, yeah.
It's not because we played with each other's boobs. different story.
Skip it.
But we have, we've kind of just this weekend.
Well, yeah, I think everyone that's here watching on YouTube probably already knows that we're having a little bit of a loopy day today. Most of you guys know this.
I feel like loopy means like we don't know what we're talking about.
No, loopy, I don't know. What's the definition?
Like ditzy, loopy.
No, like a fun day, like a very fun day. I just feel like we need to give our
Sunday fun day.
Sunday fun day. I feel like our podcast listeners should know that, Jay and I found ourselves in a really good mood. We're going on 24 hours right now. And the kind of good mood
of like laughing at so many things.
At the top of your lungs, do little chair dances, just having a really good time.
And you know what? So before we jump into the topic, I think what like a takeaway
from,
because we've kind of been uptight for, a year, really, just like doing.
I think you've been uptight for a lot longer.
You are not funny. You're just not funny. I know you're cracking yourself up like you think that you are the most hilarious person on the planet, but you are not funny. I'm going to cut you.
All right.
Okay. We've just kind of been like so focused on things that we haven't really let loose and just had fun and been loopy, as you say. Like we just haven't done any of that much.
Loose. Like loosey goosey. Maybe it's loosey goosey. No, that's something else too, isn't it?
I think
I'm gonna stop talking.
I don't know.
You should probably finish your thought.
Okay, so if you find yourself in a situation where you're kind of uptight and you realize that it's been a long time since you've just like laughed until you peed or like laughed until you cried, try doing something like literally turning the music up and dancing, like embarrassing yourself, even like dancing in the car, picking your nose or smiling at somebody, like laughing, like laugh, like literally look at yourself in the mirror and laugh, like do something that physically elevates you and physically takes you out of that uptightness and kind of loosens you up a little bit. Today's
topic is traveling with cats. What is that movie in there? Like the Journal of the Traveling Pants or something? Something Diary of the Traveling Pants. Something about traveling pants. And I keep thinking, that's weird. Every time we say traveling with cats, I think traveling pants. Which, anyway, I do have to say, Jae and I had to run an errand today, and she was having a hard time making a left turn. And
I wasn't having a hard time making a left turn.
Oh my God, Trap King! You were
like, there's a car coming, and I clearly saw that there wasn't a car coming, but there still freaked me out.
But from where I could see it in the passenger seat, I didn't realize that car had gotten into the left turn lane in the oncoming lane.
But I had in the driver's seat.
But you didn't tell me that.
Oh, so I should announce as driving. I should announce that
before you kill me.
Car goes into turning lane.
I thought you were about to
car is turning left. Car is turning right.
You could have just said he got in the turn lane.
Just so you know, as a passenger,
I stuck my finger in her armpit to be like, whatever. And you know what she did? Do you know what she did? Like, she didn't even think about it. She just like, bam, my boob.
I just punched her in the boob.
Just totally punched me in the boob.
She was like, you're so childish. I was like, you just stuck your finger up my armpit and you're calling me childish? That hurt.
This is the mood we're in.
That's the mood we're in.
Okay.
Today's topic is inspired by one of our beautiful followers and friends who recently reached out about our podcast and said, oh my God, what?
Robin said playing with boobs helps. Oh, it's Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. Okay, now focus. Let's do a podcast.
Okay.
All right.
So one of our followers reached out and said, have you done a podcast on like traveling, like moving across the country with your cats, like moving with your cats? Because I'm considering this. She actually lives here in Vegas and she's considering moving to the other side of the country. And she said, I'm considering this, and it was just wondering if you guys had any insight. And I was like, that's actually a great subject, because our teammate Lindsay, our boss Lindsay, is she's actually moving from New Jersey to Vegas in just a few weeks.
Did you ask her if it's okay to share such personal details?
That she's moving?
Well, I mean, that's kind of a big deal. People that want to remain anonymous, I don't know.
Okay. So there is
someone who shall remain
random person who shall remain nameless that might be making a big move in his or her life, their life. And they, anyway, it's happening in real time for us. Like, we're a part of this. And so we wanted to address the subject because there's a lot that goes into, I know we've written a few blogs about it. We've done some cat tips about it, but we haven't necessarily gone into, I guess, detail. We haven't talked about it on our podcast yet.
No, we haven't. I'm curious what you're going to say.
Oh, there's tons of things that we need to think about, right, when it comes to traveling with cats.
So let's start from the beginning. What do you think as far as like, how do you prep for a move?
Prepping is the number one thing we want to do, right? So if your cats are not adapted to traveling in your vehicle, right, then we want to get them used to that first. Now, that usually starts prepping by getting them used to a carrier. So for many years, most of the years of being cat parents before we knew better, we always had our carrier like in our garage or in a closet somewhere, because it was only kind of like, well, we didn't
pulled it out when you went to the vet,
and we only went to the vet when it was an emergency at that time. Yeah. So we didn't have our cats acclimated to, it was always a super stressful thing, because they say the carrier coming out, getting them into the carrier was like almost a fight every time to get them to the vet.
And if they saw the carrier, they'd usually go hide. So then it was like trying to pull them out from under the couch or the cabinet or the bed, and then trying to stuff them into a carrier, because we only think of it 20 minutes before we need to leave for the vet.
Right.
So prepping is key, and it starts a long time before leaving that carrier out, letting them get used to it, putting their favorite blankets or toys into it.
And this is a move, knowing that, actually, I think this is a prepping thing that we should all do, regardless of if we're planning on moving across the country or moving at all with our cats. It's something that we want to get them used to anyway, so that if and when a time comes, say it is an emergency, say it is, something happens and now we have to up and move, but we only have a few days to pack everything up and go.
And it's things happen. It's to make vet visits, our annual and biannual vet visits, more comfortable for our kitties too.
Correct.
Because a lot of times our cats only get in the car when it's time to go to the vet, and then they are very stressed when they're at the vet, so they have a very huge negative association with the carrier and with the vehicle.
Correct.
So it's very helpful if we can help desensitize that.
Yeah,
and that starts with
leaving the carrier out.
out.
Let's put things in the carrier like toys and treats. Let's associate that. People think that you can't train your cats like you can your dogs, but you absolutely can. We start associating the carrier with good things, right? So if we're not going on trips yet, we just have the carrier out, then after it's sitting there for a little while, they may be like, okay, I want to see what's in here. Our cats like to sleep in their carriers and on top of their carriers. Put familiar smells in there. We really acclimate them to their carrier. And, if they go in there, we can treat them, give them a little treat. There's lots of things for our cats. They have to go in their carriers in order to get their outside time. And so they go into their carriers when it's like, we're going outside. We can't say it too loud because it's about to happen again. Yeah. But if we say that like outside out loud, then they're like, okay. And they all go into their carriers because we're going to bring them outside into their little catio tent thing.
So but I do want to say, even slowing it down more than that, as far as like getting them used to the carrier so that we can put them in the car, even slow it down to a few other small steps. And that is get them used to the carrier, but don't close them in the carrier. Let them enjoy time in the carrier, and then close them in the carrier, let them be in the carrier for a little while and close them in. Let them calm down if they're nervous.
You just said that.
And then open up the carrier, close them in, and then give them a treat.
You said that 3 times now.
And then go to letting them get into the carrier, close the carrier, pick the carrier up and walk around with it, because that makes them feel like, oh, something's happening.
Right.
Then put it down, open it, give them a treat. The next step is,
are you guys taking notes?
Put them in the carrier, pick them up, put them into the car, get into the car with you, but don't go anywhere yet. And then spend a couple of minutes in there.
The
then
smells
come
of
back
the car
in,
will also.
Right? And then give them a treat, and then start taking the practice runs where you just start the car up, let them get used to the sound, go around the block, couple 5-10 minutes, and come back, get a treat. And so they start associating it with, even if that first practice ride is rough, If you do that a couple times, they're like, oh, this is no big deal.
Yeah, the practice runs are going to be super important too, and I think we should do that because we do that, but then at certain times we don't do it consistently. And when it's with the ones that we do more consistently, they're so fine with the car. With the ones that we don't, it's still they're used to their carriers, they're used to other things, but they're not used to the actual traveling part. And that's important, especially if you're going to be taking a long trip. It's really good, even if you're for vet visits, but if you're going to be taking a long trip, we want to get them used to it. So if we know in advance that we're moving across the country, let's get them in the car. Let's get them in the carriers. Let's get them in the spaces that they're going to be in the car, and let's take them for short rides, and let's talk to them sweetly, and then let's treat them when they get home and they realize that, oh, we're not going to the vet, and oh, that wasn't so bad. And then we do that again and again in short rides. I mean, you can go around the corner, just take a little joy ride for yourself. It's nice to get out of the house during this time of quarantine anyway. So get out, go take a drive with your cats and bring them back and treat them. Teach them that the car is an okay and safe space for them. Yeah. I think that's first. Other things when it comes to a long road trip.
Yeah, you want to be prepared. You want to make sure that you've got a good litter tray that you can use, maybe even in their carrier. Lindsay actually said one of the tips that she heard was they put a litter tray in the carrier, so if they needed to use it, but it was Velcroed inside the carrier, so it wasn't going to like fly around on them.
And guys, you can get industrial Velcro at like your local hardware store, like Home Depot or Lowe's, or
double stick Velcro,
double-sided.
Brilliant.
Yeah. It's industrial. It really works well.
Yeah, it really works well. Make sure that you have everything that they need. Any medications you need to bring. Make sure that you've got their things that make them feel comfortable. It's also a really good idea to have, if you don't have them chipped, to make sure that they've got some sort of identification on them, just in case there's some sort of an emergency.
Right.
That's something that I never did when I moved cross country. Thank God I didn't run into any issues with that.
I mean, you know what? Here's the other thing. I do want to say that each cat, every different situation is going to be a little bit different.
A different situation is going to be different?
Different situations are different. Did you not know that?
I do now.
Good. I'm glad I could school you. Yeah, every situation is going to be a little bit different. We're not saying that there is one hard and fast way to move your cats across the country or just travel with your cats. There's not a hard and fast way, but there are certain things that you want to think about as far as like safety of your cats. So traveling in the carrier is safer than doing it the way that we did back in 2005 when Adrienne moved out here with our 4 cats. She just laid down and luckily it was great, but that's just because the Lord had his hand on Adrienne.
I got lucky.
And the trip. And
I had 4 cats. So
there was no 4 cats loose in the car, 2,000 miles. But
stopping for gas was a little bit of a challenge because you had to get out of the car before the cat got out of the car. I can't believe how dumb I was with when I was in my 20s.
Well,
I really can't. Hey, real quick though, this is another good point. So different cats, as Jay said, different situations are different. Different cats react different to different situations.
Wait, different cats react different to different situations?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. But we got a comment here on YouTube and said my cat will stop meowing if his cage is high enough to be able to see out the window. Mm-hmm. And that's worth noting too, that some of our cats really like to look out the window, while other cats travel better if their cage is covered, if their carrier is covered. So those practice runs will really help us better determine what's going to be most comfortable. Which kind of cat
is your specific cat or cats?
Yeah. Yeah. And listening to soft music too. I know this was a little bit of a challenge for me when I was moving cross country, because you want to like listen to some smooth jams, or you want to really belt out some Counting Crows or something, but being considerate.
You just say Counting Crows?
I did, because it was a thing back in early 2000s. So you want to be considerate of your passenger partners, especially when you're traveling with cats. And sometimes Jay thinks our cats like smooth jazz. I think they like classical.
They like calming music.
If they're feeling stressed, if you can tell that they're stressed, sometimes putting on music that helps kind of drown out the road noise can also be very helpful.
Oh yeah. There's science behind music therapy, guys. And it works for our cats, as it works for us as well. So yeah, music therapy. Let's see, where else are we as far as like, let's talk about like certain things. So
bring toys as well. So when you stop at hotels, you can let them get out of their carrier. And a lot of times it's going to be a stressful time because it's a new space. They're not familiar with it. But if you've got a toy, especially a toy that they like, and definitely recommend Wand Toys for this, then you can get in the hotel, let them out of their carriers and just kind of give them a little bit of playtime.
They get the exercise.
It feels familiar to them and they get to run off some of that nervous energy as well.
Yeah. Exactly. Because exercise is like the best things, stress reliever, right? So calming formulas are helpful. I know a lot of people, my sister did this. A lot of people just want to, like, they just immediately think if I'm traveling with my cats, I have to dope them up. So I'm going to give them, go to the vet, get Valium, Xanax, gabapentin, whatever it is. We just got to knock them out because they don't like it. But if we're taking all the steps in advance, the proactive steps in advance, and we don't necessarily have to drug them up, there may be some cats that we still would need to give some medication or sedate in some way. But there are natural calming formulas too. I mean, Rescue Remedy, we have one called Cat Calm, works great. Oh my God, worked fantastic for our Mr. Biddles, who he used to just start foaming at the mouth. He was so stressed out in the car.
And he would eliminate both kinds.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
He was so stressed just going to the vet.
But you also didn't do practice tests with him. And I think that's a really good reminder too. Some cats will need a sedative, but especially on long trips, the more that, when I traveled cross country, I did get a sedative from my veterinarian just in case I had a cat that was starting to freak out. But if we do those practice trips and we make them a little bit longer, whatever it may be, then we can better evaluate if this is going to be a situation that requires a sedative or if a natural calming formula is going to really handle it and make it a pleasant experience.
Yeah, because
a more pleasant experience.
If they can kind of, especially again, if we go through those proactive measures, then some cats might really like it, especially if if they like to look out the window, then they might just be like, oh, we have a few cats that just love to look out the window. They just want to know what's going on and want to see everything that we're driving past. Yeah. We have other cats that they are definitely not okay with seeing what's going on. They feel better just in a small enclosed area, covered up, feeling like they can, have a safe space. So it depends on your cats, but getting to know which cat has which,
personality or what kind of needs they have for this. And those practice runs will make a big difference. I think it's also important to look at the bookends of the trip, right? So for example, when I was getting ready to move, I remember you bring all of your moving stuff out kind of early, the boxes. Cats are very sensitive to change. And so I let the boxes come out. I started packing up slowly. I know someone who shall remain nameless, it's already doing that. So cats are already getting used to the fact that something's going on, but over time it gets more comfortable. Yep. I cleared out an entire room in our whole apartment that I was moving from. And I put all the cats in there on the day that I was moving everything into my U-Haul trailer so that the in and out, you're getting ready to go, the in and out of moving things, they were safe in a room by themselves with their food, their litter, all that jazz. And I didn't have to worry about someone escaping and my trip being delayed for 4 days while we tried to find a cat. Right. As well, the other bookend when you land is having a room prepared where you think about having their favorite bedding, maybe a t-shirt that of yours that has your smell and comfortable pheromones on, their scratching posts, their litter boxes, their favorite foods, maybe a perch, maybe a window ledge. You have a room prepared for them where you can put them in that room. They can explore that new room. They can get comfortable with familiar things while you're going through moving in all of your stuff. So
that's a good idea. We should actually, P.S. side note, we should have that nameless person send us
a box of the good stuff,
a box of all the smells of the kitties that we can already have they're here when they arrive. I think that's the smells are so important, guys. Our cats have 200 million sensors. They make a lot of decisions based on the smells that they get. So and their anxiety is oftentimes reduced or induced by the smells that they scent, right? The scents that they smell. So I would say what?
Well, there's a comment here on YouTube. Oh, my heart just breaks for you. She said, I moved from Brown Eyes. I moved from New York to Arizona, and the vet said to give my cat a sedative. Never again. I think I was more traumatized with it, that he couldn't stand up. He just looked at me, and I just cried. Wish I could have stopped it.
Yeah, that's the, when we go the sedative route, that's the thing, is that oftentimes it makes our cats into a completely different cat. Sometimes sometimes it's an adverse reaction where the cats actually get mean or scary, or they're jumping all over the place, and you're like, that was supposed to like put you to sleep. And then sometimes it's like you're like, it's almost like an anesthesia, like you just gave your cat anesthesia, and you're like, what the hell did I just do? So you always know, ask the questions, do the research on what are the side effects and how might my cat react if I'm giving this medication when it comes to a sedative.
I remember asking my vet, should I give him, because it was Mr. Biddles at the time that we were worried about, because he was it was so hard to travel with him. And I said, should I give him like a practice round so I can be at home? We can be at home. And if something goes wrong, then I'll be here and I can bring him to the vet, because I don't know, I don't know what to expect.
What did your vet say, and what your vet did you have?
Oh, Leah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, but I went to her vet. She was great. Yeah. My friend who's a vet tech. And they were like, no, it's fine. Just if you notice they're getting and I remember I never did give Mr. Biddles a sedative. He was the cat that crawled underneath the passenger seat and stayed there for 4 days. I mean, other than getting out to go into the hotel rooms. But I think that is something to think about. If you do the practice runs and you realize that it's still a very stressful situation, I wish that I would have thought about, thinking about what Brown Eyes just said, like, you don't know what to expect. How is your cat reacting to it? Is it an adverse reaction? Is this something that's okay? Is this what's supposed to happen? Do you do a practice round? Do you get, you know what I mean? Or do you just never give your cat something if they don't need it? I don't know. I mean, that's
well, I like the idea of not giving your cat something if they don't need it. That just kind of makes sense.
Well, of course.
But
well, and ideally, practice runs will help
correct. Correct.
Find out if that's something that is going to be needed or not.
Well, and I will say that, and I've been saving this for the end, because I really, really 100% truly believe that this is the main tip that I can give to anybody that is going to be traveling with their cats, long-term, short-term, but definitely long-term, is to remain as calm as possible. I get that moving across the country is a stressful thing. I get that a move in general is a stressful thing. I get that we love our cats so much that we stress about the fact that they might stress, or we stress about how they might react. That energy that we exude, the cortisol that we exude when we are stressed, is like the number one, in my personal opinion, from what I've seen with our cats, the number one trigger to make their stress worse, to make the trip worse, to make everything worse, is if we cannot, in whatever way, shape, or form we need to do so, stay calm about it. They know that mama's safe, daddy's okay, we're all fine. Putting them in the car, it's going to be a happy thing. We're making a big move. We're going to do something different. We're taking an adventure together. Like, this is fun. Like, literally do, like I said at the beginning, get excited, laughs, like dance, do something that gets your energy up and that gets you kind of out of a rut and of the stress of what it might be, and keep your energy as happy as possible, as positive as possible for the move. What? Go ahead with your question.
I was just going to ask who daddy was, but
cat daddy, cat mama.
I know. I got that as you were talking, but I do have to say you're onto something with that, because when I was in my 20s moving out to Vegas, I remember the first 30 miles being very sad for me. I was leaving. I didn't know when I was going to be, home again. And those 30 miles were very traumatic for all of us in the car. Past that, I had 2,000 miles of cats belly up in the sunshine, sticking their noses on the windows, having a great time. And I think it's because I didn't know any better. And it was
but you got over the grief and went to adventure mode.
Right. It was, we're moving to something different. And it was a big difference. I mean, obviously Mr. Biddles did prefer to stay under the passenger seat, and that was his spot, but he was very playful and happy when we stopped at hotels. And I think it is so much to do with our own energy too.
Yeah.
And I tend now, as I get older, to be so much more preoccupied with the cats, whether it's we're taking a trip, making sure everything's taken care of for them, or we have to travel with them for some reason, and whatever it may be, that I give them so much of my stress.
Yeah.
And the older I get, the worse it gets.
It is a thing, guys, that we can say until we're blue in the face, but it is so important that we keep our energy especially when it comes to our cats, right? Like, sure, you might still be sad that you're leaving your home after, leaving your family after living there for so long, or, going to a whole new place that you've never even really been to before and you don't know what to expect. Like, all of that can be stressful. I get it. And I'm not saying like stop thinking about that, because that's easier said than done. But to think about, to be able to kind of change your energy, put your energy on a different level of, this is an exciting adventure, and bringing your family members, your cats with you to go on this exciting adventure. This is an exciting adventure in life that we will all remember, that we'll be able to talk about, that we're going to make memories. Like, this is going to be exciting. Everything's going to be fine. Like, literally bringing yourself to a point where you are positive about even you can, I'm not saying don't be sad that you're leaving. Don't like ignore all the other things or the stuff that you're about to have to deal with coming up. Like, let's just try to be present in the moment and experience the trip with our cats.
We can't fake emotions with cats. And that's why I was saying,
that's what I'm saying.
In hindsight, I feel like that is what happened. I spent the first, hour on the trip or so being very reflective, not necessarily negative, but just very, I was taking a big adventure. I was leaving my home. I was leaving my family, and I was driving 2,000 miles to find you in Vegas, right? With our 4 cats. And then that energy shifted. And in hindsight, it's so fascinating to see how responsive all the cats were to that.
Yeah.
So it is, I mean, everything's always easier in hindsight, but it's one part being, cognizant of our own emotional state when we're doing something, not overthinking like I tend to do with the cats nowadays, and being overly worrisome, and knowing that you've got the preparation down. I think that brings a lot of peace to any kind of new adventure where you're not sure where your cats are kind of going to land in the situation. When you do that kind of preparation, it brings a lot of piece to the actual big moment.
Yeah. Well, and I'll say, when it comes to like our stress and how it affects us, and then how it affects our cats, it's interesting because I learned when I was really little, my mom actually just used to tell me, because I would get so like like I've always had really high anxiety, like since I was a baby. And when I was, are you just videoing one of our cats right now? She's suckling in her sleep.
And
oh my goodness,
Madison.
Anyway, forgot what I was saying. Oh, my mom used to tell me that she would always be like, you're going to make yourself sick. I would get so worried. Say my dad was sick, or I was just around somebody that was sick. I've always been kind of a germaphobe. And I'm like, so like, I would get so worked up. She would be like, you're going to make yourself sick. And lo and behold, so many times I literally made myself sick. By worrying about being sick. And I don't know exactly how that works in the body, but I do know that we can also do that with our cats. And I know that for a fact because we deal with so many cat parents and with different personalities and different stress levels. And we've done this ourselves, where we worry so much about our cats that we literally, what you think about, you bring about, and you literally create the thing that you're worrying about. because we are unable to stay positive, because we are unable to get out of that rut, we can create that. So we don't want to do that if we're going through a stressful event, any stressful event, but moving with our cats, moving is stressful enough for us, right? It's just stressful enough as a whole. So making it worse by putting more bad energy or more stress into worrying about other things about the move, let's just stay away from it as much as possible. Like literally, let's just be like, nope, not going to do that. Just not going to do that. Everything's going to be fine. We're going to be fine.
Well, and it makes a big difference. Like the person that shall remain nameless, it's literally almost a month out from the big moment. And there's a lot of preparation already being done. There's a lot of, she already recognizes the cats are like, what are the boxes doing? That makes such a big difference, so that it becomes something that's far more normal, natural, and it makes it easier for us too. I mean, there are times when if I'm stressed out about something, I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong with Oliver? And I realize, and I'm like, you have to chill out. You're about to make him really sick. I will literally be like, you have to stop worrying about this. Take your cortisol outside.
Yeah, go. You are not, just because he sneezed. I got it, and that's under control. Don't.
So I mean, I have a lot of respect for the people that are taking something like this on. I think it's so exciting, and I love that there's so much consideration. Many of us will have to go through that
at some point, right?
Well,
I mean, Trap King, like he lives traveling with his cats, right? So I mean, it's got to be a lot easier for his kitties, because he travels all the time with them. So they are used to it. So we kind of want to try to mirror that, like mirror Trap King, just like follow Trap King and do what he does.
See how he does it.
Yeah. Because I mean,
he does have an RV.
But cats get used to whatever it is. If we're living in a smaller place, if we're living in a larger place, if we have, we all have different situations going on for their living situation. And it's, and they adapt very well. Cats are very adaptable.
Yeah.
That's a word. Yeah.
But I think we should wrap it up, though. I just think that the number one things that we can do is get our cats comfortable with the carrier, get them comfortable with the car, and do those in really big baby steps where they get into the carrier. If they're not closed in, they get into the carrier, you close them in for a moment. You give them a treat when they come out. You walk around with the carrier closed in. You go to the car with the carrier, but don't necessarily drive. You then take them for little practice trips, and you get an idea and a feel for how they're going to respond to
Is this a
taking
recap?
trips. Yeah, this is a recap.
Okay. And then keep your stress as low as possible and play calming music. We got to go because I got to make lentil soup.
I know you do.
So thanks guys for joining us.
It eats like a meat.
It does eat like a meat.
It's so good.
It's kind of
lentil soup, guys.
Anyway, love you guys so much. We hope you guys are having a fantastic day wherever you're at, whatever you're doing. And we will see you guys very soon. Mwah. Love you guys.
Bye, y'all.